Hi everybody, my name's Nick Hales and I'm the IT manager for Active Operations Management International, which is way too long to put on a business card without a fold out, so we call it AOMi. What's this? Hey. AOMi is a management consultancy. We are a global management consultancy. We have over 30,000 people using our methodology and our software worldwide. We are present in, as you can see, as you can see, we have offices in the US, UK, India, and South Africa and Australia. There are only 30 people in the UK, and we generate something around the region of £6 to £7 million worth of revenue in the UK. Globally, we will generate anywhere between 12 and 15 this year, and we do it with less than 45 people. That's permanent employees. We have a wide range of partners, both individually and other organisations that help us deliver to large international customers, clearing banks, financial institutions, insurers, those kind of things, national and local government. I'm going to tell you about how we used Confluence to create a collaboration area for our organisation globally. This is the team that helped me do it, and if Jamie waves over there, he's this gentleman here. He's a key contributor and is definitely one to blame. So, here we go. Right. About 2.5 years ago, we realised that we were unable to sustain the level of growth that we required with permanent employees. So we started this process of finding partners, as I say, individuals or organisations that would be able to deliver our methodology, our cultural change, and our software. One of the problems with that, of course, is you need to maintain the quality of the implementation. If you move away from the quality of the implementation, it damages the brand, and we are an IP-based company. Everything we do is generated by us. So the problem we also have is, how do we retain that IP? And not only how do we retain it, but given that we're getting further away from our end user customer, how do we bring it back in? How do we add to the body of knowledge? How do we make sure that when somebody comes up with a quirky idea as to how they're going to configure our software to solve an even quirkier customer solution, how do we get that back? How do we learn from that? How do we translate it into other solutions? So we started to look for a solution. We looked for various different technologies. We looked at MediaWiki, we looked at SharePoint, and I have to echo the comments made earlier. I'm really not a big fan of SharePoint. We looked at in-house solutions. We looked at a blended solution. How could we integrate a number of different things together to come up with a practical solution that would allow us to bring all these different people together. Eventually we ran into a company who were doing a similar thing in the Netherlands. And they just started on their road, and they recommended a product called Confluence, which seemed to meet most of the criteria that we had at the time. So we did a little tester using the online facility provided by Atlassian, and yeah, generally it looked exactly what we wanted to do. So having decided it was the product of choice, I went about developing a slide set. Now this is what you've been looking at as I've been going through, is a kind of a subset. It was a much larger, much more intense presentation, dealing with everything from stakeholder management, how we were going to go about getting the adoption rates up, what the cost was going to be for this year, for next year, for the next 5 years, cost benefit analysis, the whole shooting match. So having put this presentation together, who can tell me what the first question I was asked after I presented it to our board? There's a pen in it, if you can tell me. In fact, have a guess and I'll give you a pen anyway.
How much did it cost?
No! Easy one. Anybody else?
What did you build your presentation in?
Brilliant. Now, although I was somewhat upset that I didn't get the Oscar nomination that year for short or animated short, I was somewhat disappointed, but then I remembered the old jeweller's adage, get the ring on the finger. I'd clearly not been able to articulate and demonstrate what it was that I was trying to get them to achieve. The scale of change that I wanted these guys to undertake I couldn't do it in a presentation. So what we decided to, this is how we effectively moved forward. So with the challenges we faced were a lack of understanding and or apathy. These guys either didn't know or didn't care what it was that I was telling them they needed to do. A lack of vision, very similar to apathy. They just couldn't see that the problem existed. We wanted to continue using incumbent technologies, email. But I got it on my email, I can send it to you. Great, now we've all got a different copy of it on our emails, and we're all up to the gig limit that we get off our email provider, and now we all have to delete them. Fixed mindset. Nope, gonna stick with it on email. Can we have a shared drive? And infrastructure. At the time we started this off, we were in an office that had no external internet access, so I couldn't put something in the office and access it externally, which meant we were stuck with hosting, which, as we'll get on to, wasn't necessarily the best idea. So how do we overcome it? And I think this is the bit I like. Sometimes adversity is what you feel you need to face in order to become successful, and it's very true. I'm a particularly, as Jamie will testify, a particularly stubborn individual, and once I've set my mind to something, I generally don't like to give up. So how was I going to effectively get this in under the radar? So that's what we did. We started off very, very small with a proof of concept. We took a small focused solution, which was basically all the IT documentation that we had hanging around. So it was stuff we'd done for customers, whether it was data sheets that we'd created, whatever it was. We said that's what we're going to put on, and we're going to take the 5 people in IT and we're going to do a small solution. So we kept it internal and very, very specific. We came in under the cost radar. So using one of Bob the Builder's phrases, we reused, reduced and recycled. We found a couple of PCs that we'd used for a previous project, and we developed a small Confluence implementation in the office under somebody's desk. They weren't under the desk, but the system was. And then when we got it up and running, we treated it like a secret, but we told everybody. Well, yeah, that's on our little knowledge base over here. Would you like a log on? And that's how it started to spread. So what do we use it for now? Well, the answer is virtually everything. I mean, it really does run our entire business. We use it for the best solution we found recently was our ISO 27001 certification. The ability to be able to link documentation, to be able to demonstrate flows of information, to be able to link together all the different policies and procedures we wanted, to be able to tell people where they were, for them to be able to find them. It's essential to the conformity to ISO 27001, and without Confluence we never ever could have done it. We've got our own external knowledge base that we're building, so when customers ask interesting questions, we're able to point them to the knowledge base so we avoid those questions where we snigger heartily down the phone at them. So we kind of say, go here, jiggle the handle effectively. So what does it look like today? We've grown it to 34 spaces, we've got over 2,000 pages of content, we've got 109 registered users, we get about 2,500 visits a month from about 400 visitors. So because we've got a public facing side to it with the public knowledge base, it takes